All right, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth, and it's January 4th, 2015, and we're here today to interview heavyweight Malik Scott. How you doing today, Malik?
What's going on, man? I'm just chilling by the pool, having a cigar, listening to some paparazzi. You know, one of my favorite opera singers. So, just chilling, man. What's happening?
Not much. First, you turned pro in 2000, right?
Yep.
Okay, and you're 34 years old.
34 years young.
Okay, young. Your pro record is 37 wins, 13 by knockout, 2 losses, 1 draw.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
All right, and is it now? You correct me if I'm wrong on this. Is your amateur record actually 70 wins and 3 losses?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Now, your nickname, you actually have 2 boxing nicknames, right? The King and the Noble Artist?
Yeah, the King, the Noble Artist, the Odd Guy, the Rhythm, you know, everything.
Which one do you prefer, though?
All of them, because all of them describe me.
Okay.
People call me all of them. Like, you know what I mean? All around the world, people call me. Some people see me and say, hey, you the Noble Artist. You know, some people see me say, what's up, King? Some people say, hey, that's the Odd Guy right there. But, you know, in Australia, they was calling me the Rhythm.
Okay. So now, I want to get right to this question because I've seen it written several times and I want to hear your opinion on this. I've seen it written so many times it says you are one of the most skilled boxers in the heavyweight division today, but the knock on you is they say you lack power. What do you think about that?
I would say the first part of the question is right. I am the most highly skilled heavyweight in boxing today. You know, I believe in, you know, I'm not the only one that believes that, like you said. There's other people that say that and other people that write that. As far as the knockouts are concerned, my knockout ratio is low. I think it's 13 or 14 knockouts I got out of 35 fights or whatever it is. Some people think I can punch. Some people think I can't punch. You know, but, you know, my whole thing is I'm just waiting for a phone call. So for the people that think I can't punch, you know, there's heavyweights that think that, then they managers or their promoters need to call my matchmaker Tom Brown because we're dying for a fight right now. Absolutely. I think I didn't call out Tarver, you know, why he's calling out a man that's retired. I didn't call it out. I didn't put a couple names out there. You know what I mean? But as far as the knockout ratio, that's not something that I worry about. That's not something that I entertain. You know, when fighters fight me, you know, as you can see, Leopold, after he fought me, his face looked like Martin's face after he fought Tommy Hearn. After Glasgow fought me, and I beat him 7 out of 10 rounds, and they took it from me, his face was red as a white chick's ass when you smack her and having sex. So it's almost like, you know, I don't really pay that, you know, attention. You know, I deal with my task at hand, whoever my opponent is. I pray they believe that I can punch because it gives me more opportunity to punch them.
All right, so tell me what, in your opinion, what happened to Derek in the Derek Chisora fight?
In the Chisora fight?
Yeah.
It's so simple. I was beating Chisora. I got caught with a shot behind the head. Not that I'm complaining because, you know, we're fighting and this is what goes on. But I got up at an 8.5, 9 count. The ref counted it out. And that was unfair, that was premature, and that just wasn't a good call. And I'm still looking for that rematch. But what I will say is this. I'm a man that takes responsibility for my own actions. So the ref didn't make a bad call, but at the same time, I shouldn't have got hit with the shot. I got hit with the shot, you know, laying on the rope going back. And Derek threw a perfect rabbit shot, and he just caught me, knocked my equilibrium off. I got caught, and then, you know, I got up at 8-9. The ref shouldn't have called that fight off. Especially a fight that I was winning in his home country, you know what I mean? That's what happened. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard that ref did that, you know, 2 or 3 fights later to another kid. And before me, he did that. But people put all the attention on Malik should have got up at 7 count or 8 count. Do you know how many champions or how many history-making fights would have made history if the ref would have counted people out at 8 or 9. Diego Corrales, when him and Steele had their wars, and Diego got up at 8-9. When Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. But, I mean, there's so many different fights. Larry Holmes fighting Ernie Shavers when Shavers knocked him down. And Larry got up at an 8.5 like it. So, like, these are things that happen in boxing, but we need to pay attention to the ref, and they need to be penalized so these type of things don't happen to other fighters, because it's a real unfortunate thing.
So you seem to know the history of boxing pretty well. I'm impressed.
Well, you know, I wouldn't call me a historian, but I'm a pugilist specialist myself. So I've been in this game since I've been 12 years old, and I didn't come in the game just, you know, being a barbaric type of fighter. I came in the game idolizing, you know, other fighters, other old fighters. You know what I mean? So I did my history, and I come up in the game. So, you know, it's not too much somebody can tell me or teach me about that.
Well, no, it's
boxing. You know what I mean?
No, it's refreshing to hear a boxer know his history, because there's boxers that I talk to all the time, and I'll mention another boxer's name to them from history, and they have no idea who I'm talking about. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're involved in something, you should know the history of what you're involved in the sport, who paved the way for you to get to where you're at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. But everybody's mindset is different. You got some guys that's in there, they don't care about no history, nothing. They just want to get in there and kill guys. You got, you know, some guys are specialists. They like to know the game and know the fighters and know the guys that paved the way for them. You know? So, like, you know, I go all the way as far as back to Charlie Choo Choo Brown, the first IBF champion. I go far as back as my knowledge with the game as, you know, Bob Foster doing what he did at light heavyweight, then coming up fighting Frazier. I go as far as Max Schmeling and them guys fighting Joe Louis and, you know, Tommy Burns and all of them guys. Like, you know, I'm really, you know, up on this game.
Okay, I'm impressed. No, I really am impressed that you just threw out all those names out there. So let me ask you a question on what exactly happened, in your opinion, because obviously you're the one that knows more than anybody, in that Deontay Wilder fight.
What happened in the Deontay Wilder fight is simple. I got court cold. Look at the fight, I didn't have a bit of sweat on me. I got court cold by probably the hardest puncher in the heavyweight division right now. He usually, Deontay is not known for throwing hooks, but he has a good hook. And the reason why I know this is because I boxed the kid before. We got, you know, some rounds in together, sparring, coming up in the game together. So, you know, obviously when you're fighting a taller guy, you know, you expect the shots to come down the middle early. You know, and I got put cold with a left hook. It wasn't the most powerful left hook that probably Deontay can throw, but it caught me at the perfect time. It caught me directly on the temple. And, you know, that's what happened. And it froze me up a little bit, have my equilibrium off, and, you know, it froze my nerves. But if people pay attention to the fight, I got up, but I just wasn't, you know, the ref just called it off. And, you know, whenever it is I got up, it's not like I was flat out cold. Yeah, it wasn't that type of shot. It was a shot that caught me at the right time in the right place. But what's sexy about it is how I came back from that, and I'm still coming back from that. What's sexy about it is how Alex Leopold and his people thought they was going to do the same thing. What's sexy about it is how so wrong they was. You know, what's sexy about it is how I'm right back in the game, and I put myself back in position without the help of, you know, so many other major key players in this game. Everything with me is done the old-fashioned way. But like I told you before, Alex Leopold was my first step, you know, on this road to redemption. And, you know, I can't wait for the next, you know, statistic. That's my whole thing, man. So, the Deontay thing happened. No excuses made. I didn't feed into, you know, allegations and all of that type of bullshit that was put on me that people were saying. I gave all credit to the little bro Deontay, you know, and I wish him the best going against Bermain. I really think he got a great shot at beating Bermain, even though Bermain is a good fighter too. I just think, you know, Deontay's range and, you know, strong right hand, his attributes would be a little bit too much for Bermain. But anything is possible in this noble art, you know. So that's what happened with the Deontay fight, man. I got caught right at the right time. I was cold, and it caught me in the right place on the temple. If anyone know anything about boxing, you know, the simple shot is a shot that can put you, you know, it don't even have to be the hardest shot. It's just a shot that, you know, that caught me. But,
so do you plan on having asking for a rematch or trying to fight him down the line?
Yeah, I won't stop boxing until I fight Deontay Wilder again. why I'm pushing for him to beat Severn, because it keep the mystique alive. Him being champion and us fighting again. If Severn beat him, it kind of takes the mystique out. You know what I mean? Because he's defeated, and here he is having a rematch. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to pass this test with Severn with flying colors. I'm looking forward to him staying undefeated. When he fights Severn.
Okay, let me back up a little bit. How exactly did you get involved in boxing?
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna answer this question, right? But for people that's listening, any other websites or correspondence, this is my last time answering this question, because as y'all job, I feel as though it's important for y'all to have the most basic questions out the way. I've been in this game since I've been 12 years old. I've been a professional for 10 and 12 years. So for people still ask me, how did I get into the sport of boxing? It's kind of like a novice green question. You may be a novice person when it comes to doing this. That's nothing wrong with that neither. But I feel as though y'all should do your homework a little bit more before asking frivolous questions like this, with all due respect. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Well, actually, the reason I'm asking it is just for the boxing fans that aren't completely familiar with you, so that they'll learn how you started and how you got into the business. So that's why sometimes I ask it, just so people...
I'm going to tell you something. As your job, I see what you're saying. But it's 2014, the typical fan don't give a shit about how I got started in boxing. That fan no longer exists. The fans now, they only care about what's relevant. And what's relevant to the fans now in the heavyweight division is Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder, and Severn fight. What is Malik Scott going to do? What's coming up next? I know you're doing your job. But I'm just saying, man, like me starting to box, at the age of 12, like I tell everybody else that interview me, my brother had a blount disease. And the blount disease is, when your bones grow narrow, but it made him extremely bow-legged, and kids used to tease him. And I used to beat their ass for teasing my little brother. And my uncle, he took me to the gym one day after a fight I had on the street, and he said, actually, I called him. I told him I want to go to the gym. He took me to the gym at the age of 11. I was turning 12, and I never turned back. And I was with Fred Jenkins since I was a kid, and he trained at the Athletic Recreation Center, ABC Gym in North Philadelphia.
And
so that's that story. And then now that's all on Google. That's all on everywhere. You know what I mean, bro? So it's like,
okay, and you actually won some amateur titles as well.
Yeah, definitely. I won every amateur tournament that it was necessary for me to win. I was number one in the country in the Junior Olympics. I was number one under 19. I turned open class. I won the U.S. Championships. Olympic trials. Launching the box off. I was number one in the country as an open class fighter. On the state fair. I had a decorated amateur career that I worked hard for, and I got a lot of things accomplished.
All right, so a lot of people might not be aware of this, so I'm just going to touch on this briefly. You actually were out of pro boxing for about 4 years because of a bicep injury, right?
Yeah, I had a bicep injury one time, and I had a bicep and a calf injury at one time.
But you're 100%. You're 100% recovered from all that, though, right?
Oh yeah, man. I'm recovered from all that shit. I tell everybody, my photographer Jerry Lefion, he told me that Marvin Gaye told him that Jesus healed all wounds in time, and all my wounds is healed. And I kept pushing forward, and that's what I do. Not just in boxing, but with my life. You know what I mean? I got tough skin. People knew how much I really cared about what they say. They wouldn't insult me at all, because I could give two shits really about anything people have to say about me negative. And I just love this game, man. You know what I mean? I love this game. I love life. You know what I mean? I love striving. I fall, I get up, I keep pushing. You know what I mean? It's nothing.
Okay, I want to bring up a guy that you fought back in 2008, and the reason being is because I'm out of Minnesota, and he's a Minnesota fighter. You fought Raphael Butler back in 2008.
I fought who?
Raphael Butler.
Oh yeah, I fought Raphael. Yeah, oh yeah, man, I fought Raphael.
So do you know him well, or did you have a relationship with him all, or did you just step in the ring and fight him and that was the end of it?
Well, first I want to say Raphael He had a journeyman type aura with him, but he was a good fighter. You know what I mean? We spent time in, I think, Vladimir Klitschko camp before he was holding his own with Vlad. I believe we did some rounds in camp, and then we ended up fighting years later. And I beat him, of course. But Rafael's always been like a cool dude. He went into UFC, and with a couple guys. He lost a few fights in boxing, but he always been like, a good quiet dude off to the side in his own lane. He won't fight anybody. So I don't know what's going on with him now, but much respect to him. I love him.
Okay, and then I got a question. I saw a lot of YouTube videos of you being interviewed by esnewsboxing.com. Is that like one of your friends, or is that a guy that just follows you around, or what?
Ellie Setback, he's a boxing news reporter, or a news reporter in general, but a lot of his stuff he do is in boxing right now. And he gives not just boxing a voice, he gives fighters a voice, he gives trainers, managers, promoters, basketball players. If you notice, you were seeing with Shaq, you were seeing with Kobe. He has his own persona, he has his own aura that he carries with him. He hustles and works harder probably than anybody that I know in the sport of boxing. That's, behind the camera, behind the desk. No one works harder than Ellie Setback. He has became a good friend of mine, but he also, he do his work, man. We're not somewhere hanging out and seeing each other every day. When we see each other, it's at work. He'll catch me sometimes at, my favorite cafes, or he'll catch me, in my workplace when I'm working down at Goosen's gym. But he's the hardest working correspondent that I ever met in my life. I guarantee you right now he's somewhere loading up videos or interviewing somebody or something like that. This dude works extremely hard, bro.
Oh no,
On New Year's Eve, I was the only one in the boxing gym. He just so happened to be coming to the gym just to see. He rolled past to see my smart car in front of the gym, so he came in the gym and we got an interview out there. He's just always working. He's a good guy, man. Straight up dude.
Oh no, I'm giving him his props. That's why I brought him up, because he does seem to be a very hard worker. He seems to love boxing as much as I do. I see him doing all these YouTube videos. I see him interviewing you all the time. The guy is definitely staying busy in the sport.
Yeah, definitely, man. He stays up to 3 in the morning, trying to set up interviews, uploading videos, taking videos down, doing this, doing that. And if you look at a lot of the comments he gets from his interviews, that dude get death breath, that dude get love, that dude get everything. He's kind of like, I wouldn't say like, me and Ella, we have a lot in common, outside of our work. We both, good human beings. We both believe in good things happen to good people, but also bad things happen to good people too. So, we real eye to eye. He's a good friend of mine. I would call Ellie a friend.
Okay. Just on another note, do your tattoos, are they all like a story? Do you tell a story with them, or do you just love tattoos in general?
Both. Anything I do, my tattoos, my love for being a cigar connoisseur, my love for my kids, my love for boxing, my love for people. Everything I do is just a self-expression of me. Everything I do, the way I walk, talk, it's just me expressing myself. When I get tattoos, I'm expressing myself to myself. That's why the tattoos that I have, most people would never get these kind of tattoos, or most people won't understand these tattoos. But the reason why is because I get the tattoos for me. So if you see like a tattoo, you may see it like I have a tattoo of Charles Manson on me. That's because Charles Manson is probably my favorite insane genius. His word, his non-worldly ways, I kind of idolize. Then I have tattoos of Kim Kardashian. She reminds me of a modern-day Cleopatra. Then I have tattoos of Lana Del Rey, my favorite singer of all time. And I have tattoos of Helen Mirren, a woman that I would just love to rub her feet and kiss her. Then I have tattoos of Christ on my chest. Everything, man. My red stars for the act of communism that I believe that come with dictation in my type of world. That's a lot of tattoos, my king tattoos. It's all just me expressing myself to myself, man. You know what I mean? I
No, I mean, I really love the fact that you have all those tattoos. I just didn't know if you just got them randomly like some people do, if there was a story behind all of them. So, no, I appreciate you breaking them down to me.
Yeah, all of them, but sometimes it's random, but they all come from my mind. I don't ever see nothing on TV that say I want to get that tatted on me, or see something somebody else got to say I want to get. It all comes from,
Okay, before I bring up some fighters, I just wanted to touch on one more thing. Dan Goosen's death, how did that affect you in your career?
Dan Goosen passion affected me more outside of my career than my career, because we was more friends than anything. I didn't just lose a promoter; I lost a good, genuine friend. When you call somebody a friend, you have to say this to yourself. This is what I believe. A friend is around when there is no object, when there is no motive. A friend is doing favors that's not even considered favors. They're just doing this because they are what? Your friend. Me and Dan have done so much for me that had nothing to do with boxing. That when I didn't even have a contract with him, he really put his neck out there and put certain gestures out there for me to let me know that it wasn't that he was some promoter promoted me, that he also was my friend. So losing him was like a huge curve in my life, because like I said before, I got pictures and videos of him playing with my kids. This is a guy that me and him would go and watch his son play Notre Dame football together at Notre Dame High School together. Like, what I mean? It was rarely that, the only time we really was talking about boxing is more high school. And as far as my boxing career, no other promoter has given me more opportunities than Dan did. And what bothered me the most is the biggest one of my career so far. The man really put me in a position for the fight. He wasn't even here to, see the fight or hear about the fight or, shake my hand, about the fight, because we always had certain things that we would say after our fight, whether I looked good, bad, or whatever. But we always had this saying that we would say, and we got it off of Angelo Dundee. Used to tell Sugar Ray Leonard, or told Sugar Ray Leonard in the Tommy Hearns fight before he stopped him. When Ray Leonard came back to the corner, Dundee looked at him and said, "You're blowing it, son. You're blowing it." So that's something Dan used to always tell me when I would, get off of focus, or when I wouldn't perform to my highest level. He would always look at me and say, "You're blowing it, son. You're blowing it." And that meant basically, you got to pick it up. You got to do better. But for me to be Leopold in Leopold's country and to come home and Dan wasn't there, that was a little heart-wrenching right there. But he's in a better place. He still has beautiful kids here. His son Craig is a great guy. Tom Brown is the matchmaker up at Goosen office now. And he's always been, but it's just him up in there. And the whole Goosen thing is like a family. I just was over their house for, was it Christmas? It was Christmas. Yeah, I was just over the house for Christmas. I was with the family and I was with his wife and the whole thing. Joe Goosen is my twin brother. I'm sure everybody can tell we look and dress alike. So it just was a bad thing, man. It was a bad good thing. A bad thing because I've been talking to my good friend, but it was a good thing because I know he's up and having smiling down at. Okay,
well, I didn't actually know you guys were that close, but that's good to know because I just learned a lot from you on that. But I want to bring up, I think I forgot to bring up your boxing rec, that based on boxing rec in the U.S., you're number 6, and world, you're number 25 in the heavyweight division, right?
Yeah, I believe so, something like that.
Okay, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I want to bring up some fighters now in the heavyweight division that hopefully we'll see you fight one or two of them in the 2015. You already brought up Antonio Tarver, so
do me a favor. You got to do me one favor. Don't bring up no fighter from Philadelphia about me fighting right now. The only time I'm talking about me and another heavyweight from Philadelphia fighting is when me and that heavyweight is matched up to fight. But anybody else, talk about it, you bring up to me.
Okay, so
no, you know what I mean? No Philly fighters.
Okay, well that just crossed another one off the list because I was gonna bring up Amir Mansour too.
Listen, when it comes to Philly fighters, man, if their name is not on the other side of the paper behind the versus letters, then I'm not into talking about me fighting. And the only thing I do is pick them up and give them props because I think it's not a coincidence that when I I looked in the top 10 of the U.S. heavyweights, there's 4 or 5 fighters that's in that top 10 from Philadelphia. This is the shit that never gets talked about. This is the shit that people overlook. I look in the top 10, I see Brian Jennings, Steve Cunningham, Amir Mansour, Eddie Chambers, and Malik Scott. That's 5 fighters in the top 10 just from Philadelphia. So I think if Philly heavyweights is going to be talking about anything about each other, it should be that. I heard Eddie Chambers and Amir Mansour is going at it. Man, they need to kill that shit. There's a bunch of other motherfuckers out here for us to go after. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like now, like them going back and forth, I ain't with that type of shit. Like, you know, we all from Philly, we all on our different routes, of course, and we all may have to fight. That's cool. But deal with that shit when it's time to deal with it. But all that talking shit to people from Philly and all, no, we got Russians talk shit about Poland, you talk shit about people from Cali, people from, we got just so many other heavyweights that, you know, we're going to be beefed on the internet or whatever that type of shit is called they was doing. It's other ways you could go about that, or other opponents we could pick. I just don't agree with Philly heavyweights talking shit about each other.
Okay, no, that's understandable.
I'm not saying that, you know, I don't believe I'm the best good heavyweight on the planet, bar none. That's me being confident in my ability. That's including me. That's including heavyweights from Philly and heavyweights in the world. But for me to literally point out heavyweights from Philly and say, yeah, well, I think this, I think I do this to them, I'm not that type of dude. I cross that bridge with them when I get to it. If our names cross the list from each other, then somebody about to get their work. But in the meantime, the only thing I'm talking about Philly heavyweights is I'm proud of the fact that it's the top 10 list in the USA and 5 fighters is from Philadelphia. That's all I'm speaking on when it comes to Philly heavyweight, bro. Because I'm so big on that shit right now that, you know what I mean, that's a monumental thing to me. It's not to others, but I'm big on that.
Okay, well, let me bring up a couple different heavyweight fighters in. How about, do you know who Andy Ruiz Jr. is?
Yeah, I know. I think he just fought Blachowicz, right?
Yeah, I think that's who he just fought. I know he just had a recent fight.
Yeah, that kid is good. He got some, you know, he's a Mexican kid, you know, come forward with the pressure, got fast hands, but, you know, he can't beat me. Like, I would love that fight. But the minute that he beat Blachowicz, I called Tom Brown. I could send you this text message. I called Tom Brown. I said, Tom Brown, get in touch with Top Rank because I would love that fight. So please see if they interested.
Well,
so, you know, I'm still waiting on Tom Brown to get back at me as far as that fight. But when he beat Blachowicz, and the only reason why I told him to make that call, not downgrading Andrew Lee's skills or not, because I don't believe in calling out nobody that can't fight. I called him out because I know a lot of people. I even heard George Foreman said he'd be heavyweight champion of the world one day. And I'm just here to stop Andrew Lee's dream. That's all I'm saying as far as that. I'm here to show George Foreman that he was wrong about saying that, because Andrew Ruiz can beat me. So I don't believe Andrew Ruiz could be heavyweight champion of the world, but the kid is a good fighter. But that body type, that type of style in his day and age, I mean, guys is coming in 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", and like, you know, in shape. I just don't believe Andrew Ruiz got the skills, you know, to stand up to a Klitschko or stand up to a Tyson Fury or Malik Scott or any of those type of guys with skills. You know what I mean? So I asked Tom Brown for that fight. I didn't hear nothing back yet, but, you know, we'll see. Who else?
Okay, how about Chris Arreola?
Arreola. I told Eastside Box the other day when he did an interview with me, and I told him, you know, if Antonio Tarver is looking to fight somebody highly skilled and motivated, I'm here to put his old ass in a rocking chair. I'm here to put his old ass in a rocking chair. And during that same interview, I was asked about Arreola, and I said I would love to Arreola fight. And the reason why I said it is because Arreola, we all know he's tough, rugged, and come to fight. So he's going to make you earn it. And he has the name. He's in the top 10. And he's an official opponent. I'm not one of them guys. I never thought Arreola couldn't fight, or he was, you know, some out of shape Mexican. No. I've been in the ring with him. I shared the ring with Chris before, so he could fight. But I don't believe Chris Arreola could beat me, and that's a fight that I would never turn down. And if the contract was presented to me, I will sign that contract fast as a man change clothes.
Okay, what about Tyson Fury?
Tyson Fury is fighting who right now? He's fighting Christian Hammer. I think Tyson Fury is underrated. I think for a big man, he has a nice He's really technically sound. I think he has gotten better though. A lot of people still judging the old Tyson Fury, and I believe, man, I have the style to beat Tyson Fury or any other fight on any given day. So them guys got to be on the P's and Q's, with me. If that contract came to me, I would sign that contract just as fast as Superman changed clothes.
So do you?
Like, you know what I mean?
Do you got any superstitions or rituals or habits that you do before a fight?
Do I have I have to, when it comes to my music, I do. I have to listen to Lana Del Rey and I have to listen to Marvin Gaye.
So you listen to that before every fight?
I listen to Lana Del Rey and Marvin Gaye before every fight. It's a must. I won't get in the ring if I don't hear their music, during my hotel time when I'm chilling to myself, when I walk around or when I'm working out. That's the type of music I listen to. That's the type of music I like. And those are my two favorite artists of all time. Besides the guy out of Philadelphia, that's on a hip hop note named Black De Niro. He's my favorite hip hop artist. But as far as music, that soothes me, and a directly connect to my soul is Lana Del Rey and Marvin Gaye. So it's a ritual. Like I wake up to that music in the morning, I go to sleep to that music. So when I'm fighting, or when I'm in fight week, or how us fighters is, we doing press, we doing hotel things, we doing all that. That music has to be on. Like, you know what I mean? That music is in my ear.
So do you got anything going on right now in 2015 in the next couple months? Any names thrown around that you're trying to sign with?
Well, like I said before, people know I call Tarver out, or at least let him know that I'm open for the fight. And like I said, I told after the kid Andy Ruiz, he beat Rakovich, I called Tom Brown and I asked him if Top Rank could get that fight, and we could get that fight. And anybody, man, any champion or anybody that's in title contention, that's the only people I want to fight. A champion or anybody that's in title contention, I'm fighting a champion. Anything else is uncivilized. Like, you know what I mean? I don't got time to be fighting, Joe Blow from this. That's not, you know what I mean? I'm not interested at all. There's some Twitter stuff going on right now between me and the young king, Anthony Joshua. I believe that kid can fight. I watched him, do some rounds with Chris Curlin like I told everybody before. I speak my mind, I speak the truth, and I say what I want. The kid, he did more than hold his own with Vladimir. Like, he didn't get ran out of camp. He was there holding his own. He did his rounds and came back the next day and did more rounds, and, it was some good work. But I see loopholes in that kid game, and I believe at the same time, like I said before, the style that I believe he has a lot of loopholes that I could take advantage of, and I would even love that fight. Something like, against a young up-and-coming lion like Anthony Joshua, when it's about something, got the gold medal. They trying to get into a title, but I'm here to fuck up all of those type of dreams,
Okay, well, I'm going to end the interview on this last question, Malik. When you leave boxing, what do you want the boxing fans to say about heavyweight Malik Scott?
I want the boxing fans or people in general, not just boxing fans, to say, and I like, when someone see me coming, I like for them to know it's me. I have my own identity. I'm not trying to act like nobody else, talk like nobody else, be like nobody else. I want people to say that's Malik Scott coming, the odd guy. He's very highly skilled. He could beat you on any given day. I watched him fall, but I watched him get up and keep pushing forward. Good man, and shout out to everybody that support me. And I have one thing to say. Malik Scott, the odd guy. I'm going to die like this. A good person.
All right. Thank you, Malik. I appreciate the interview. Appreciate you taking time, and good luck in 2015. And hopefully we'll see you win a world title. And the truth has spoken.